They're big, they're butch, they're box office, and they are here. What can I say? Today, Prisoner Cell Block H. Talk to Queen Bee. Share your thoughts with Franky. 0500 404 000 is the number to call. The audience, we're having to try and keep them in their seats here. They nearly stormed the stage about 5 minutes ago. The lines are open now. Now, just in case you need a reminder of how these two started out, let's take a look at this. A minute, let me ask a question. Bee is no Crystal Carrington, is she?
No, she's a double murderess with a heart of gold.
Now, you were in for 400 of the 600 odd, nearly 700 episodes. Why was it such a long runner, do you think?
Well, if we could predict that, we could all be millionaires overnight. If we knew exactly what the audience was going to go for and what was going to be successful, we wouldn't have El Dorado. So it's really hard to sort of determine. I think the fact that it was women's prison rather than a men's prison, because they did try to make a male version of it, which was a huge flop afterwards. The producers assumed that it was simply the format and nothing to do with us, you see, that made it successful. I think the fact that it was able to discuss very pertinent women's issues in a very down-to-earth way, with very real sort of women, not sort of the perfect hostess in the couturier dress, wearing 6 inches of makeup and false eyelashes, being perfect everywhere, in bed, in the kitchen, you know. It was very down-to-earth women.
But how come you're such a heroine in the series?
Me?
Because,
oh.
Yes, because, I mean, you know, double murderer, triple murderer?
Because everyone would like to be able to punch the doctor, the lawyer, the Indian chief, the judge, the teacher in the nose, and Bee does it. Right. Successfully.
Right, so that's the
So I think that she stands for, you know, wanting to be able to hit back at injustice, which she also sort of did.
Now, when you began the series, you obviously didn't have any idea it was going to be the huge success that it's been, because you don't really dip your toe in the water.
16-week contract.
16-week contract.
16-week contract.
So how does it work now when, I mean, presumably you've had good things, bad things happen to you as a result of this huge fame that you now have?
It's curious. Some of it's very good, some of it's positive and negative. The greatest exposure that a lot of us had in terms of people seeing our work, and then in other negative aspects, it's cut us out of work in other areas. Well, me, perhaps more than Carol, because I was in it for a longer period.
Carol, hello, and welcome, Franky. You were in only 19 episodes.
That's right.
Which is not very many to suddenly become a cult character, which, I mean, I understand, we were talking before, and I learned that in America, when you were shot in Prisoner, there was a wake in New York. They carried a coffin through the streets of New York. And in 19 episodes. How did this happen?
Well, I think it was the first time, as I was saying, that the underdogs came forward. And poor old Franky Doyle was one of those characters that was supposed to be the one you loved to hate. But in the end, you loved and suffered with her. And so it was not only in New York, but in Los Angeles as well. They had a big party when she was shot. They held a wake and a parade through the streets as well. And I was lucky enough to be in Los Angeles when this happened. And I was invited to the best party in the decade, I tell you.
But, I mean, Carol, you're very demure and you're rather posh. I mean, you're nothing like Franky. I think you're quite posh. You are nothing like Franky. I mean, how did you get to grips with the character? How did you form the character?
This must be something to do with being a professional actress, I think.
That must be it. Where did the voice come from? And
well, it's that you, as an actor, you gather things in from your whole life experience and from different people that you meet. And the voice for Franky Doyle came from when I was coming back from seeing my brother in Cairns. He works on the Barrier Reef. He's a marine biologist. And I was coming back down on the train, and there were two little boys, aged 10, who were sitting on the train seat opposite me. And you know how little boys of 10 cannot bear you to be in their space, or, you know, and it was that thing of, you're in my space, pushing and shoving at each other. Right. And the one little boy said to the other, piss off, go on, piss off. And I thought, there's Frankie Doyle's face. That's the
Right.
attitude.
Right.
The thing
See,
of
absorbed.
asserting yourself when you've really got no power at all.
Is it true that Frankie has now become not quite a role model, but a sort of anti-hero that in Australia the social workers say, if you don't watch out, you'll end up like Frankie Doyle?
Well, they say to the parents, if you don't watch out for your kids, if you don't have the same understanding as you have for Frankie Doyle, because she became a hugely popular character, and people would empathise with poor old Frankie's problems, but they wouldn't empathise with their own children's. And so it was used as a talking point so that parents and children could come together and they could show some understanding for her plight and therefore for their own.
Right, let's go to the audience, let's go to the fans. Every single person has begged, borrowed or stolen to get into this show today. They are all huge Prisoner Cell Block H fans. We've got some questions. Let's start with one up here. What would you like to ask?
How did Val feel when she left Prisoner?
Right, how did
Sorry?
you feel?
How did you feel from when you left
How
Prisoner?
did I feel? Jubilant. I quit.
Why did you quit?
Because I felt I had taken the character as far as I possibly could. I had explored her inside out, and there was nothing more I could learn about her, and therefore I was not growing anymore as an actress.
And also you were let out from the tunnel. We spent all our
Yes.
production life
Right,
in the...
more questions. Another question here.
You going to come back?
Right, you're going to come back.
No, once she
Why
leaves,
not?
she's gone forever. For the reasons that I gave you. I don't think one should revisit a character after you've given up.
Right, another question here.
You said you portrayed her as far as you could, so why go onto a stage and portray her in drama?
Right, this is
I never have.
the stage
I
show.
thought you actually went on a drama
Well,
show.
you thought, darling, but I didn't. Wrong. And they offered me a lot of money to do it, believe me.
There's a little bit of B in there, I think. Somewhere in there. I just saw it for a second there. Who else would like to ask a question?
Val, I believe your two daughters appeared in the show. Could you tell me what parts they played? I keep looking for them.
Oh, well, if you would have missed them by now, I'm afraid, because episode 1 was Cassandra. She played B. Smith's tragic daughter Debbie that died of a drug overdose. The most repeated scene that they ever shot. And she never got any more royalties for it. And my other daughter played a little girl called Yvonne, B's first escape from Wentworth. She stayed with a friend, and there was a young girl living next door who was getting into bad company. B saw her going the wrong way and tried to advise her, and the little tart rang up and dobbed her in and had her sent back to Wentworth. That's my other daughter, Joanne.
You're all fans. Let's introduce a super fan. May I call you that, Roz? Roz, you run the fan club,
I do, yeah.
which has how many members?
At its peak, 10,000.
10,000. How did you become a fan?
I just came in from the pub one night and the first episode was on and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I'd never seen anything like it on TV before, and it was just a bunch of wild women running around screaming, and I just thought, this isn't Crossroads, you know, and because of the timing of it, it was where I live, like when you come in from the pub, you put it on. And there'd been no pre-publicity for the show, it's just like they slipped it in. And so I saw the first episode on a Saturday night and I was just totally intrigued. So it was on again the following night, so I watched that one sober and I was still intrigued. And we got it 3 nights a week then, and it was on again on the Monday, and by the Monday I was hysterical.
Now, when you say hysterical there, it strikes me that maybe you don't take it altogether seriously.
I take some of it seriously, yes, but I just think it's a crazy show. There's nothing else like it, and it's just women, and it's women sticking it up authority, which you never see on television.